In today's video, I want to talk to you about power animals. I have had a lot of experiences with what would be considered power animals, and I've had experiences with, I think there's different levels of animals that assist us. And because of what I've experienced, it's no wonder the ancients really revered animals, and they are our allies, and I think we take them for granted sometimes, the power that animals have. I mean, even if you've ever owned a dog or a cat, you know how healing they are. I have 2 cats, and I know they can detect when you are upset and sad, and they will actually come, and mine will lay on my chest and actually, I call it do pity paws on my chest. And so that's just instinctual for them. And again, now dogs and are being taken to hospitals. People are now having therapy pets. So that was always part of shamanic thinking and culture, that animals were here to help guide us and heal us. And I'm sure many of you out there know how your animals have healed you or even saved your life. That happened to a friend of mine where their dog saved her life. So animals are much more powerful than we give them credit for. I'm going to share with you my experiences with what we have been told are power animals. And I'm going to share with you how to find yours. Sometimes it's really simple. Sometimes we overthink it. And I'll let you know about that. I'll share with you my favorite tools or oracle cards that have to do with animals. And it's really part of this animism way of life where, you know, everything has a purpose, and animals are a big part of this practice. So in these stories, I'm going to be sharing with you some what are my shamanic experiences with animals, and they did occur at certain locations that I consider very powerful, like portals. And again, I don't like sharing these spaces on YouTube, but on my Patreon channel, I will have a video, and I'm going to be revealing all the places that I've been that I considered portals or sacred grounds, or where the veils are very thin, where you can access or have experiences if you are open to that and they feel they want to communicate with you. I think these are areas that are very thin, and you may have experiences there. I will be sharing that video on my Patreon channel. Okay, so let's get into what is considered power animals. You know, I'm not into labels, especially because with my shamanic experiences, I'm never told names. There's never like, I'm so-and-so, and there's never a big neon sign saying, welcome to the 5th dimension or anything. I never know exactly where I am or anything like that. So I'm very, no labels. I know that there are different levels of animals that come to help in the shamanic tradition. I'm not going to label them, but when I was young, when I would walk to school along a busy road, I always felt that there was this black panther that walked to the right side of me. So I would be on the sidewalk, the panther would be on the side where it was next to the busy road. So I've always had that my whole life. I would have pictures of Black Panthers. I had a really strong tie to the Black Panther. And this was before I knew anything before. I mean, I was always strange when I was young. I would describe my friends in symbols and colors and all that. But I didn't know anything about having power animals or anything like that. So I just knew I had this really strong relationship, and it was my favorite animal. And then I'm going to say this was 2015, maybe. I was driving with a friend of mine, so I do have a witness to this happen. So again, when you're with me and bizarre things happen, you will see them also. You will witness them also. The friend that was with me has witnessed a lot of these bizarre experiences. And so, I mean, he knows that I experience a lot of things. So I like when he could witness it also to confirm and just that I'm not crazy. So we were going up this mountainous area, and I'm not going to say where, but I will reveal it on the Patreon video. And I was driving, and he was in the passenger seat. And all of a sudden, where it's not supposed to be, we don't have them in Northern California. I mean, it is in California, but a lot of my experiences have happened here on the West Coast. And here comes a Black Panther coming up the side of a slope. And so I slow down, and he even said, like most animals would wait for the car to come by, they wouldn't come up. But he said that panther he saw it first and didn't say anything, and actually said it waited for us to get closer to come out. Instead of normally animals don't come out, they wait, and then after you've passed, they come out. This one waited. It slowly came out onto the road. There was no other cars. It's a very remote location. And it looked and made eye contact the whole time. And it didn't dash. It walked very calculated and slow across the road, just staring at us, making complete eye contact. And I was so elated. You had no idea. I don't know what he was feeling. He was probably scared, but I was just, oh my God, that's my animal. That's my animal. And there it is, the Black Panther. And I was connecting with it. And a lot of times when people do see their power animal, there is a connection there. And I'm like, afterwards, I'm all, why didn't I take a picture? But that happens to me all the time. And you're in such like this conscious lock with them that you don't think about that kind of stuff. And I just was looking at it and could not believe that this was in front of my eyes, because they don't exist in this part of the United States. Oh, also, and it was during broad daylight, and panthers are nocturnal. So that was another sign too. And then it just went up the slope on the other side. And I know that there is like said that if you do see your power animal, that you will experience death, like a physical death. I can tell you I'm still alive, and this was in 2015. But after that, my life crumbled. My relationship ended. My career as an interior designer in a store started to crumble. I went through extreme purges and didn't think I was going to survive that year. So it's a metaphorical death. It's not a physical death, but it was extreme. It was extreme. So I don't want anybody out there thinking if you see your power animal, if it's something exotic like that and you see it, that you're going to physically die. That was not my experience, although I did go through a metaphorical death of my old life. So now I feel like this animal is with me my entire life. I also felt like the veil was very thin. I feel like these beings, that my familiars, my allied spirits can shapeshift. So maybe it shapeshifted into a Black Panther, which is my animal. I can't confirm that, but afterwards because it was close to a campsite, we went to the ranger station and said, hey, we just saw a Black Panther. And this woman looked at us like, sure you did. Like we were doing drugs or, whatever. Like she didn't believe us. And she's like, no, they don't exist here. And, she'll make a report. But she basically was like, yeah, you guys are cuckoo, is what the response is. And I was like, well, whatever. I mean, that we saw it. My friend, I think, tried to talk himself out of it, that he saw it because it was so bizarre, and the encounter, and it didn't act like a normal animal in the wild would. And so I knew what it was. I knew the experience, and it was amazing. So now there's also, I experienced receiving an animal, which more is the Shamanic Initiation. And that was also in another location that I will not talk about, but will reveal in my Patreon video. And this was one of my first experiences going into inner earth that I talk about. The whole room that I was in, a vibration happened and I spun into inner earth. And again, I don't do drugs. I don't do hallucinogenics. This is just when you go through initiation, you are able to go. Is my physical body separating if you were in the room and I disappeared? I don't know. But I know I go. It's probably I detach and I go in my energy body. I went into inner earth. I was in the middle of a stone circle. There was someone that I'm going to assume, it looked like a Peruvian shaman. He couldn't see me, and I shape-shifted into a fox. And I was bouncing around and playing, and after I experienced that, then I just saw a big face of a fox. Now, the oldest shaman ever found was in ice. I think it was from like 60,000 years ago, and it was a woman. And she had all her clay amulets, and she was dressed as a shaman in her burial, and she had a fox with her. So the fox is very much a shamanic animal. And so I did receive that. So I think that is another ally of mine. So again, I'm not going to label it. You can receive several animals will come into your life just for a specific purpose. And foxes are very magical animals. And maybe that was when I was starting to really come into using, I was really leaving my body a lot and everything. And so sometimes these animals will help guide you when you go into these other dimensions or realms. Or you can shape-shift into them if necessary. I've only done that one shape-shifting that one time. So again, that's another way that you can find out your animal. You will get a vision, or you will experience. And that's a lot of reason people go on vision quests, or the sitting out in the Celtic and European tradition. an animal will come through your sight where you're doing your vision quest, and that is supposedly your animal. I've also had a vision of in the beginning, spider. So you get several animals in this path, this shamanic path, that will come into your life and assist you. They all carry a certain energy. So what I needed at that time, that's what will manifest. But I always feel like the panther, the Black Panther, it's very hereditary. Something in me, there's a close tie to that, and it feels like it's something bloodline related. I can't explain that, but that's just what I feel. So again, in an easy way, like to determine what your power animal is what animal you're drawn to. My dad has toads all over his house. You walk up to his door, he's got a bench that are toad. I mean, it's everywhere. So unconsciously, he's drawn to them and likes them because that's his animal. So and yesterday I saw a woman buying a bunch of like elephant figurines and talking about how much she loves elephants. That's her animal. So unconsciously you will be drawn and you'll buy things and so that would be your animal. So it's a really easy way to determine that. So if you're drawn to a certain animal, or you have pictures of always like animals of that, or owls or whatever, that's most likely your animal. Animals will connect with you all the time when you go out in nature. I had friends where she sent me a picture of a crow that's just staring at her and it just wouldn't go away. So that's just a connection. And you don't need to know what the message is right away. It will do its thing. The music that I play, you hear the birds and you go out. To me, it's super healing. That's a form of light language. And so connecting with animals is so healing, and they're here as our allies, and they were worshipped. And I have met gods that are half human, half animal. So at time, it's a big part of being incarnated on earth, is this tie to animals. And so part of animism too is really embracing that and spending time in nature. And again, there's a purpose for everything that exists on earth, anything. And so that's why I emphasize people go out in nature and connect and pay attention to the animals that are coming across your path. Listen to the animals. Use all your senses, and that will really help you connect. And my favorite book on when you see an animal and you want to maybe, what is the symbolism of that animal? My favorite book is by Ted Andrews, and it's called Animal Speak. I love this book. There are some sites online you can click on if you're, want to see right away. But I really, really like his book. I think it's great. And those of you who work with tarot or oracle cards, I have some favorite decks. I'm very earth-based, and I really like earth colors and everything like that. So some of mine, this is by Stephen Farmer, Messages from Your Animal Spirit Guides. And this helps you, they also help you just to memorize what the animals are when you see them. And his definitions, I really like. This is what they look like. And yeah, they're simple. There's also a guide that goes a little further into what the animals are. This is an independent deck by Sandra Coons. Oh, I think that's what her name is. The Messenger cards, guidance from your animal spirits. I'll put the links to these below, but I love her artwork, and so that's why this is one of my favorite decks also. I love her art. There's a horse. It's just really earthy and beautiful. And then I love this deck, Animal Spirits Knowledge Cards. And the artwork is by oh God, what is her name? To put on my glasses, excuse me. Susan Seddon Boulay, I think is how you say her last name. And she has beautiful cards. And she has another deck, the Goddess Knowledge Cards. I love that deck. It's so beautiful, her artwork. And these are small, and the messages and definitions are on the back. So it's another way to memorize also. You can use them as flashcards. And here's my panther. Yeah, they're very earthy colors, and convenient to have this on the back. So those are just a few of the tools I use when working with animals. And again, they seem to, for me, they come to me in my life when I need them. And just need to start really appreciating the animals around us and how powerful they are and the energies they give off. And again, if you want to find out where these places are that I talk about, because I will be talking about more experiences in the future, and I will reveal them in today's Patreon video. And I'll put a link to my Patreon channel below. And I think that's it for today. And I will see you on the next video. Thanks.